cookie. He really loved that cookie.
Hey gang, what's up? Just Ehren right here, Question Period Canada. Some bad things are on the horizon. A little nervous tonight. This bill, C-63, the Online Harms Act, is not good for people like us that enjoy having opinions and sharing them online. They're going to put us down. We've got Poilievre's opinions, Trudeau's opinions, and then the announcement of the act itself by Varani, who we do not trust on this channel, but at some point in the near future, they're going to say what I just said was hate speech, when it's just an opinion about a guy that tends to lie to my fellow Canadians very often. But they're going to call that hate speech. And, well, let's just check out the videos, man. This is not a good situation we're in.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre. Andrew Lawton, True North. The federal government has said that its online harms bill is imminent. They've said this bill will include, among other things, a ban on so-called online hate speech. As you know, the Conservatives a decade ago repealed Section 13 of the Canadian Human Rights Act, which the Liberals have talked about reintroducing and tried in the last parliamentary term. Will the Conservatives oppose the reintroduction of these provisions and the Liberals' approach to so-called online hate speech?
Yes, we will oppose Justin Trudeau's latest attack on freedom of expression. And I want to ask, what does Justin Trudeau mean when he says the word hate speech? He means speech he hates. So, for example, let's go through some of the things he said is hate speech. Jerry Butts, the PMO puppet master, said that it was hate speech to criticize Trudeau for using the ridiculous term people kind, right? Justin Trudeau said anyone who criticized him during the pandemic was engaging in hate speech. Basically, anybody who disagrees with his radical agenda when it comes to kids, he says is hate speech. He attacked Muslim parents who were protesting against his agenda. Is he going to criminalize those Muslim parents for protecting their children in schools? Go down the list of things that Justin Trudeau disapproves of, and you can imagine all of the things that will be criminalized. And then there becomes the question of who is going to be in charge of determining what is hate speech. Recently, a school board in Ontario banned Anne Frank's books. Okay, so would that be considered hate speech under Justin Trudeau's woke authoritarian agenda? I think it would. So anyone who thinks that speech they don't like is going to be criminalized and therefore the bill should be supported, go through that. Those people should go through the list of their own thoughts that Justin Trudeau considers to be unacceptable views, and you can assume that he will ban all of that as well. And finally, I point out the irony that someone who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist, who dressed up in hideous racist costumes so many times he says he can't remember them all, should then be the arbiter on what constitutes hate. Why doesn't he? What he should actually do is look into his own heart and ask himself why he was such a hateful racist. For despite his enormous personal privileges of a multi-million-dollar trust fund, being the son of a prime minister, growing up in mansions, traveling the world, why he had so much hate in his heart that he was such an awful racist. And what he should do is actually explain where that ugliness came from, and maybe in that way, rather than through coercion, he could help us all in the fight against real hate. Thank you.
And now we're going to hear from our Prime Minister. He is the worst, guys. I know that I'm not going to be able to say this in a few months or I'll go to jail for the rest of my life for hate speech. But this guy is a disaster and a dictator, and he's trying to take over our country and take away our rights, hiding behind children.
Why do you think the online harms bill is necessary, and why can't people be allowed to say what they want online?
First of all, we know, and everyone can agree, that kids are vulnerable online to hatred, to violence, to being bullied, to seeing and being affected by terrible things online. We need to do a better job as a society of protecting our kids online the way we protect them in schoolyards, in our communities, in our homes across the country. We need to make sure, and I think we can all agree, we need to protect our kids online. Now, how to go about do that is a very careful balance. We need to make sure we're protecting freedom of expression. We need to make sure we're protecting the freedoms and the rights of Canadians while we protect kids. That's why we've spent years working with different community groups, with advocates, with minority communities, with experts, with people in all sorts of different backgrounds to make sure that what we're doing is actually protecting kids. And I look forward to putting forward that online harms bill, which people will see is very, very specifically focused on protecting kids and not on censoring the internet as misinformation and as the right wing tends to try and characterize it as. I think everyone, wherever they are on the political spectrum, can agree that protecting kids is something governments should be focused on doing.
I know it's different than it used to be, like the internet changed a lot of stuff, but I still think it's the parent's job to protect the child, not the federal government's, not like this, not what they're again, I believe children should be protected. But they're doing this thing where they're manipulating Canadians into dividing and distracting. That is what they do, man. Like, and it gets worse. Wait until you see the act. Like, all that shit that Trudeau just said, that's not true. They'll lock you up for having a dissenting opinion. I just don't want to go to jail for the rest of my life because I think that Arif Irani and Justin Trudeau are scumbags, like, and telling that to other people and showing them, like, what the evidence is that got me to that point of thinking. But they're gonna do it, guys. They're shutting opinions down.
Extending the maximum sentence on inciting genocide to life in prison, is that too much?
What I would say to you is that we put a lot of thought into many aspects of this bill. There's an aspect that deals with the commission that's being created, and there's aspects that deal with the criminal law. We are creating a new freestanding hate crime offense. We are enhancing the penalties, as you mentioned, for the hate crime offenses that exist currently. And we're also ensuring that a peace bond could be procured for somebody who there's a reasonable likelihood will create a hate crimes offense. With respect to genocide, what I know as a lawyer, as minister, and what I've learned from the stakeholders and the experts whom we have consulted is that there is a determination to demonstrate at the highest level that the maximum penalty for a crime such as advocating or promoting genocide should be increased.
The idea is to protect children, right?
National examples, Australia had tried a takedown provision across many types of content. Germany had done that across the board. They've since resiled from that and moderated their position to move to what's called a risk-based analysis. But what we heard is that we need to address certain types of content, but for the two that you mentioned, the issue of child sexual exploitation material and the non-consensual sharing of intimate images, what is known as revenge porn, so that we can be clear with Canadians, is that there's no space. There's no tolerance in the public domain for that kind of material.
Children don't understand revenge porn. The idea is to protect children, right?
On what constitutes hate. Why doesn't he? What he should actually do is look into his own heart and ask himself why he was such a hateful racist. For despite his enormous personal privileges of a multi-million-dollar trust fund, being the son of a prime minister, growing up in mansions, traveling the world, why he had so much hate in his heart that he was such an awful racist. And what he should do is actually explain where that ugliness came from, and maybe in that way, rather than through coercion, he could help us all in the fight against real hate.
I'm just nervous, guys. This bill C-63, the Online Harms Act, like, believe me, I've got nothing but love in my heart. That's for real. But man, these guys are trying to say it's hate speech. Like, when you're trying to tell your people the truth. It's wild and wild. It's out of control. I don't know what we're doing with this Liberal government. Screw the NDP for keeping up this coalition. Like, it's bad out there, guys. We need an election very soon. I don't want to sound like I'm in a panic, because I'm not. It's just that this channel is probably going to have to say goodnight, because we're not allowed to have opinions. Or you go to jail for the rest of your life. Like and subscribe. It's Canadian Question Period Canada. Something like that. Question Period Canada. Like and subscribe. We're having fun here with Canadian politics. A little bit nervous, a little bit rattled. Not gonna lie, I tried something that I think they're gonna quash. And it's too bad, because we like sharing your opinions, right? We'll be able to share our opinions here for a little while longer. I'm Ehren. This is Question Period Canada. Who knows what's gonna happen? But sign up, subscribe, like, share it with somebody. Maybe we'll get to a better place. Who knows what's to come? Always the optimist. It does not look good.
Cookie me no longer just a rookie. Cause once me ate one cookie, me want more and more and